the weapons, collective edge. Welcome to the Weapons Collective Edge. Today we're going to go on our third installment of our workout session for sword, a 15-minute workout. I wanted to go over a few things from my last session. One thing I was working on was keeping point control, and I was all over the place like this. So I built a new device. Let me bring it on camera here. Got it here. It's just a hole inside of a piece of plastic, and my objective, get that centered a little better, is if you want to train on that, to just keep that point on center at target. You know, I can go long point, ox, I can go down to almost flug, I can't quite get all the way down, and back to ox here, could even get maybe a little bit of hanging. But this way, I can practice keeping my point on point and not knowing that I'm going all over like this. So if I get there in there, right there, and change my guards and start to feel what that feels like to keep on point for when I need that, for when I'm trying to keep on point. You know, you're here, and I might be in here, wherever else I might be. Tip isn't always going to be straight on, but in this case, when you do want that, it's a good training device to get me to stay where I can feel through the positions that I'm staying right on center. So I just wanted to add that. The other thing I wanted to go over from the previous video was I was doing some broadsword over my back. I'm going to make a little bit of an excuse, but most of it's me just not keeping on line. This handle's kind of round, and blade geometry orientation is sometimes lost on a round handle. So when I'm doing a cut like this, that's not right. I need it to be here. So I'm going to give myself a slight excuse, even though I should have been able to notice that. But once I saw it on camera, I noticed a lot of my cuts were here. So my point being is that if you get a handle that has the geometry of having flats, you know in your grip that you have the position where you want it. So if I'm here and I cut like that, I can feel it in my hand. Now I know it's in the right position inside my hand. So when I go to do my cuts, I can keep them more uniform across there, only because that handle is nice and flat. So it gets me the geometry so I can see my edge and feel my edge. Before, I only had to watch it, and sometimes I was seeing this and thinking it was fine, but it wasn't, because the handle was not really positioned right. So I make an excuse, but the excuse isn't just that. It is me. I wasn't noticing, I wasn't feeling it, I wasn't keeping my edge geometry, which is key to sword, is that edge. When I go to cut something, so if we're doing test cutting or something like that, we want to know that edge hits just right. If let's say we're cutting water bottles, and I come in here and I cut that water bottle like this, it's going to just smack that water bottle like your baseball bat. If you come in here, and the edge geometry is hitting first, and it's cutting through, it's cutting through, it's cutting through, that cut is going to work. And that's key to knowing your edge geometry and where it's at. And because of that flat handle, it helps me. Other handles here, this has got a flatter edge. This is a little more rounded, but still flat. Where your shinai is totally round. But then again, there's no edge geometry. So as a training device, it's good for rudimentary, exercise, but you wouldn't always know your position of blade because that doesn't totally have a flat edge. It's always got something round to it. Still a good training tool. And something like this with the Dusak, my edge geometry is flat, plus the whole mechanism says, well, I can't put my hand in it if I'm like this, or if I'm like this, it hits my knuckles. So it aligns your blade a little better too. And a lot of it has to do with when you bring it in. If my hand is cocked like this, you know, it's not going to cut. I need to know that hand is in the right position. So just a little key features that I noticed from my own video that I was failing on, and that helps to know when you need to fix things like that. So it's not something I want to say, you know, it's all right to do, because it isn't. So I'm making up what I feel is the necessary changes so that I don't do that again and I become better. And because I videotaped it, that helped me. So if you ever need to adjust things and feel, am I doing this right? If you videotape yourself, you can find little nuances that you might be doing wrong. So key thing to remember. Okay, let's get started on our routine. So here we go. Turn the interval timer on. Here we go.
3, 2, 1. Exercise.
Okay, we're going to start with a flow drill. So Vamtag, Elber, Flug, Ox, Zornhut. Vamtag, Elber, Flug, Ox, Zornhut. It works both sides, and that way you can practice all your guards. This goes through 5 of them. So we got high, fools, plow, ox, and wrath. One, 3, 4.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. So I was just going through them. We're going to go through them faster. I'm going to call them out in English this time, and then I'll stop calling them out. Just go on here the whole time.
1. Exercise 2.
High guard, fool's guard, plow, ox, and wrath guard. Added 2 flugs in there.
2, 1. Rest.
Good. Okay, next one. Do 5 more.
3,
Whew.
2, 1.
Okay.
Exercise.
Next set. Middle hut, Sluizel, Longort, Hanging, Fetzel, Nebenhut. Middle hut, Sluizel, Longort, Hanging, Fetzel, Nebenhut. Middle hut, Sluizel, Longort, Hanging, Fetzel, Nebenhut. Okay, so switching from Fetzel to Nebenhut is just a switch. Change your angle of the blade. To go a little faster, call them in English. Middle guard, key guard, long point, hanging, change guard, and side guard. Middle guard, key guard, long point, hanging, change guard, side guard. Go a little faster. Oops. Getting a little out of my pace here. Okay. And that's the point of it,
Rest.
is to get used to those changes. Not you're going to be changing from stance to stance, but to flow with those a little bit better.
1.
Okay,
Exercise 5.
good deep horse stance and cuts to each side of your head. You can use elbows, you can use shoulders, you can use wrists. 'Cause that's what we're going to do next. Let's go through those. Change it to bow stance. Never practiced that. That's a little more complicated.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. Now you guys will have to tell me if I'm wrong to practice this a little bit, but my plan is
3,
just doing cuts with your wrist.
1. Exercise 6.
Just to work those wrists. Get that strength in there, that flexibility, seeing what the range of motion is for your wrists. Get that workout in the forearms. You know, this isn't really the way you would cut. It's just to work that part of the body, to work that particular joint. And utilize it and feel it, how it affects you while you're doing it. If it torques in a certain way, if you can handle that, or if you can't. Really gets those forearms burning though, because I'm using all that forearm muscle.
1.
Okay,
Rest.
next set, same thing, but it's going to be using elbows. Again, you guys tell me if I'm in the wrong for training this way, just to have it
1.
for strength.
Exercise 7.
It's up to you guys. This time, try not to move my shoulders. I'm trying not to use my wrists. So when I go to finish my cut, I don't get a full cut because I'm not ended up with that wrist motion. So I feel it in my biceps. I can feel it in my shoulders too, but if you got another way to train, if you can leave me a link, I would love it. See how you guys train in this kind of situation, where you're trying to work different joints and how you would do it. But yeah, I would like that.
3, 2, 1.
Okay,
Rest.
there we go. Got some good wrist, elbows, shoulders from the other swings. Worked all three of those
3, 2,
groups of joints.
1.
Now we're going to do a thing I call Taekwondo bounce. 6, 6, 6. Stop counting, but this is just to get that calf and springiness to your feet. If you want to forward in advance, it's not necessarily training how you would fight. You might stay more flat-footed. You might stay more, not bouncing. But I think this adds a bit of spring that your calves wouldn't normally get. In Taekwondo, you guys do this a lot. So,
3, 2, 1.
good.
Rest.
Give that a try. That is a good calf workout. Get yourself pumped a little bit.
1.
Okay, hammer halos.
Exercise 9.
You can do this with a brick. You can do it with a kettlebell. Or if you have a heavy sledgehammer, you can do it with a hammer. I like it with a hammer because I still get that kind of grip like a sword. And I get that weight out on the end to work the wrists. This Taekwondo bounce has got me. Anyways, this is working all my joints, shoulders, wrists, elbows. The longer your handle, obviously the harder this will be. If you're using the kettlebell, hold that handle, let that big weight hang out there so you get that twist. Work on something you can hold.
2, 1.
If you go with what you can just lift, it might be too heavy for your wrist to twist. Okay, we go back to our try and 2 push-up one again.
2,
Whew.
1. Exercise 10.
5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, two, three, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
Good. Okay. Woo. Okay. Do some high knees.
3, 2.
Put your hands as high as you can,
Exercise 11.
that you can touch. Mine come down to meet my knee, but I'm forcing my knee to try to get as high as I can. Not going to do them fast this time. Just going to do them high. Should be able to get your core a little bit of a workout. Okay. Next interval is jump rope. If you can't do jump rope, just do the activity. Put weights in your hands or something. It's just a matter of jumping. The rope is just there to make you jump. Okay. Last 2.
3, 2, 1. Exercise 13.
Thrust from key. Thrust. 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 Alternate. Sorry about the dog barking in the background. Neighbors are cutting some wood. Okay. Last set. Woo! You thrust from plow. Flug.
Exercise 13.
the end of our intervals. We got lots of dogs barking. So, in closing, I wanted to ask you again if you can give me some input on those wrist and elbow practice to see if you think that's a good or a bad thing, if it trains bad habits. But I really wasn't going for memorizing what I'm doing. It's more get that wrist, get that elbow. So tell me what you think. And if you got something that's similar or better, send me a link if you can. Maybe do it on YouTube or whatever, and I'd love to see it. But if you like this, please subscribe. I will catch you later. See ya.